And again, I ask, I know it's always been like that, but why you think it got to stay like that? What's up, family? What's happening? It's Thursday. Back at it again. Another Thursday. Welcome to the Anti-Negativity Network. Hope you're doing well, having a great day, great week. Here to make it do again. And of course, I'm going to bring in my other better half, right? Let me make sure we get her on here. Come on. Here we go. Come on. Get on in here. she'll be joining us. So, here we go. There we go. So, yeah. So we back here again. So, hope everyone is doing well. And it's another beautiful day. Hey, babe, you good?
Hey, yeah, I'm good.
All
Mhm.
right. All right. So, hanging outside, you see, it's a beautiful day. So, just enjoying the weather. While we do what we do at 6:30. So, babe, you got anything you want to say before we go ahead and get started with this thing?
No, hello everyone. Excited about sharing the word of God. That's all I can
That's
say.
right.
Yes.
That's right. Just here to encourage and do what we do every Thursday, here to encourage you. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into it. On the count of three, y'all know what we do. Let's go. Ready? One, two, three. One, two, three. One more time. One, two, three. All right. All
I
right. So,
miss you.
yeah. So, huh?
Miss you.
Miss you too. Absolutely, I do. You already know I do. That's our own little personal joke. Don't y'all worry about it. But look, so last week we talked about we was in Genesis 48, and I'm gonna try to hold it together this week. But but hopefully you are focusing on the most important person you can ever have in your life, which is Christ, right? That relationship with Christ is like there's nothing else that can replace it. That's it. That's the standard. That's everything right there. It starts and ends with Christ. And so hopefully you have been honing in a little bit more on that. Um, but we're gonna get a little bit deeper into chapter 48 because I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not gonna go down that road again. All right. Well, yes I am, but just not today. We're gonna get deep into 48. I always like to try to kind of give you a little backdrop to what we're going to talk about as we talk about chapter 48. But in chapter 48, we're now at the point where you have Jacob and Israel. Jacob, I said Jacob or Israel. That's his. Either name is the same, okay? But we're going to say Jacob, okay? But Jacob is now preparing for his demise, right? We know that Jacob is, in this chapter, it talks about him losing his eyesight, and he got word that his son Joseph was coming to see him, and so he got his strength up so that he can get up to greet his son. And so that's where we at now. And so, Joseph has gotten to the house and he's brought his two sons, and and they do what they normally do when you come to somebody's house and everything, and so Jacob and Joseph, having their conversation, talking, and then you know then Jacob realizes that his two sons are there. He asked them, "Who are these two gentlemen that's with you?" And Joseph goes on to tell him that's his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And y'all know me; I am not the best with these biblical names. So, go read it for yourself. Look up the spelling and the pronunciation of these names, because I am liable to jack these names up. But these two gentlemen are the sons of Joseph. And so Jacob goes on to tell Joseph that he's going to adopt his two sons, which is his grandsons, um, and wants to bless them that with the covenant blessing. He wants to bless them because when I say it was covenant blessing, you got to remember that what was promised to Jacob was the same thing that was promised to his father and his grandfather, which was Abraham. And well, Abraham was his grandfather, and Isaac was his father. And so now that covenant had passed on to to Jacob, and now Jacob is trying to pass it on as well. Okay, and that's why we kind of got on the tangent last week about what do you pass on. So that's my first question again. We're gonna remind you, what do you have to pass on to your family? What do you have on to what do you have to pass on to your kids and your kids' kids, right? And so what Jacob is trying to pass on is the covenant blessing that God had bestowed upon him and his father and grandfather. So, what you got, babe? Come on.
No, go ahead. He passed on his faith to
Yeah,
his
yes, he passed on
kids
his faith.
and his grandkids. Yes.
Yes, he did pass on his faith. Yes, you're right, because that's what got me lit up last week, right?
Right.
So, 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 so he's passing that on, and so um, as he introduced his sons to Jacob, I think it was one thing that was said that I thought was worth noting was that when Jacob was talking to Joseph, he was and had the opportunity to meet his sons. It was Jacob was like, man, I didn't even expect to even see my son Joseph, because if you remember, uh, Jacob thought his son was dead for like 30 years, right? Because you know his sons had sold him off into slavery, but told Jacob that Joseph had actually been killed, right? And so to later on find out 30 plus years later that your son is alive, and then you get the opportunity to actually see him and touch him, I can only imagine what that felt like. So then to take that a step further, now he's meeting his grandkids for the first time. Man, I can only imagine those feelings that went through Jacob at that time. But I thought it was just worth noting that conversation took place in chapter 48. But then after that, that's when he said he wanted to bless them. Okay, he wanted to bless Ephraim and Manasseh, and so as it reads, and I think it's also important to pay attention to the details of this, because Joseph had actually put the boys on the knee of Jacob, so that he could, hug them, and how you do when you get your grandkids, right? So um, Joseph took him off his knee and bowed down, and in reference to, and that was just what they did to show love to his father. And so he takes him off the knee, and after he does what he does to show love to his father, that's when it's time for Jacob to bless his his two sons. And so I'm trying to give you the detail. Of course, you always go back and read it for yourself, but I got to go to the detail because it matters. And so Jacob takes Manasseh, who is the firstborn, and puts him on the right side of Israel or Jacob. And then he takes Ephraim and puts him on the left side of Jacob. And so after he does this, now remember, Jacob is losing his eyesight, okay? And so Jacob puts them, I mean, Joseph put them in the order he think they should be. But then when Jacob goes to put his hand on them to start to bless them, he crosses his arms. So now his right hand is on Ephraim and his left hand is on Manasseh. And so Joseph thinking he doing what's supposed to be done, which is customary, and by Jacob crossing his arms, that's going against customs. That's going against how things normally are, right? Because normally the firstborn is the one that's supposed to get the largest blessing or get the lion's share of the blessing, right? But it was not to be so. What you got, babe? Come on.
Oh no, just as we talked about, God is sovereign,
Yes.
and that was God's will,
Hmm.
that Ephraim get the greater blessing and Manasseh get the secondary blessing.
Hmm.
So even God is bigger
Yeah.
than our customs,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely. Yep.
bigger than the way that we think things should go, and
Hmm.
etc. You know,
Hmm.
God had other plans.
Yep. 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 God absolutely had other plans. And so, and that's some of those, that's one of those things that we're going to have to learn how to accept what God allows, right? Because we think things should be done this way, especially because it's always been done that way. Um, and sometimes change has to happen. Okay. Sometimes change has to happen, in order for us to get to where we need to be or for things to go the way they're supposed to go. Change has to happen, but it's not going to always make sense to us. It's not going to always look right. It's just going to be a shock to the system sometimes when God does what he does to just change things. Right. And if you read chapter 48, you can see it tells you that Joseph was upset. Joseph was bothered with what was going on. And he went to tell Jacob that, hey, you got this wrong. You got your hands on the wrong one. You need to switch that back. And so it even says where Joseph went to try to, correct him. And Jacob told him, no, I got this right. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. Ephraim is going to be the greater of the two. Okay. And so I guess at this point, Joseph just had to back off and let it be what it's going to be because, at some point, you can't change what God is going to do. You can't change God. Okay. If God says it's going to be like this, guess what? That's how it's going to be. All right. So you just might as well roll with it. Right. And so, but why not roll with it? Okay? Why not roll with it? Because if God says it's going to be so and it's going to be like this, well, what makes you think your way is going to be better than his? What makes you think your way is going to be better for everybody? Uh, like why? Why not just roll with it? Okay. So I think in this case right here, Joseph realized that he was not going to be able to change what was taking place, and he had to accept it. Okay. But the beautiful thing is, they both was being blessed by God through Jacob. So I don't care how small or how big the blessing is, if it comes from God, I think it's going to be worth it. What you think? What you think, babe?
Well, like we always say, any way you want to bless us, Lord, we will
Hey,
be
you good?
satisfied. We've been saying that for
Exactly.
years and
Yes,
years, even if it's a
yes, we
penny.
have.
Any way you want to bless us, Lord,
Any way you want.
we
That's right.
will be satisfied.
That's right.
So we,
So
yeah, go
there
ahead.
it is. If God gonna bless you, take it. Okay? Accept it. Because I promise you, you won't be able to get anything better. I I pinky promise you. There's no other blessing that's better than a blessing from God. I don't care how small it is or how big it is, because you just don't know what God is going to do with that blessing that he has given you. Because sometimes the blessings he give you, yeah, it might not seem that big or that much of a big deal, but it's amazing how God can take something so little and multiply it. It's like some things that you receive, like if you just really think back over your life and some of the things God gave you, and at that time it didn't seem that big of a deal, right? But then you so thankful and glad days, years, months, whatever later, and you look back at what he did and what he blessed you with, and now you still living off of that. You still making it off of that. You still growing off of that. I just think about myself when it comes to my humble beginnings with bowling. Now I'm living my best life being a bowling coach, which is what I love to do. But some of the things that you look back over the years, and I look back the 10 years that I served at another university, and it was it was a grind. But I look back over it, that was a huge blessing for me, even though financially it might not have been the best. But look at how it set me up for what I'm doing now. So humble beginnings, small blessings, and I even challenge myself to even say, put a size on it. A blessing from God is a blessing from God. There is no small or big blessings. It's a blessing from God, and it can make rich, and it can adds no sorrow. And I promise you, that blessing from God can elevate you depending upon how you choose to receive it and how you choose to embrace what God has given you. So just because it always used to be like this, and He comes around and change it, you might want to accept that because He's doing something on your behalf. Baby, you got anything else you want to add?
Just, I like that scripture, the steps of a good man are ordered by
Hmm.
God. And so, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Ephraim, Manasseh, you see those examples,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
how God,
mhm,
you know,
yeah,
has ordered their steps. And
yeah.
even in your story, let's make
Hmm.
it real. We see the examples of how God has ordered your steps as well,
Hmm.
and so,
Hmm.
you know, it's His word is His word.
Yes, it is. So just accept what God allows. Walk in it. Embrace it. Because when you embrace it, you basically telling God, thank you. I accept and I recognize what you're doing. With now, He could take
Mm,
that to another whole
wow.
level.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah, I receive that. Just sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
continue to always look in the future,
Hmm.
like what's next,
Yeah.
and we don't stop to just take
Yeah.
our time and just walk in the
Yeah.
blessings that God has already laid before us. We do that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, just
Yeah, we do.
it's here. Just walk in it.
That's it. That's
Listen to
it.
him. It's here. Just walk in it.
Stop trying to figure out the future. I got that. That's what He's telling you. I got that. You just embrace what I'm giving you right now.
Mm,
Okay? Stop looking at what everybody else has and the size of theirs. Don't even put a size on it. Just be thankful for what God has given you and what He's doing for you. And now, chances are, He's taking that to another level for you. And you just got to just allow Him to be who He is, which is God. So that's all I got. You got anything else, babe, before we cut out?
yep, that's it.
That's it right there. All right. So look, love y'all. Thank you for hanging out with us again on another Thursday. I love this. I absolutely love this. But so, hey, there it is. All right.
All right.
Go do what you got to do. Pray, plan, prepare, proceed. Go make it do what it do. Love you. Appreciate you. See you next Thursday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Peace.